I'd like to bring up our third speaker, our third and final speaker for the night, and then we can start on the tiresome pitches, but that's okay. So our third speaker is Sebastien Roy. Sebastien Roy was assigned to the Consulate General of Canada in Detroit in September 2014 as the Consul and Trade Commissioner, covering the states of Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana. That's a lot of work. In his role, he assists US-based companies with their investment and expansion projects in Canada by providing sources of strategic contract engaged in support investment projects, information, advice, and sector-specific programs available in Canada, and facilitation of site visits. Sebastien also promotes R&D partnerships for science and technology and innovation, and often accelerates the pace of discovery and results in improvement of commercial, both for Canada and US companies. Sebastien joined the Department of Foreign Trade in 2000. Most recently, he served in Kabul, Afghanistan as the first Secretary Consul. And that must have been a blast. Excuse the joke. So I'd like to welcome up to the stage, Sebastien.
Well, thank you for the kind introduction. And it is my my immense pleasure to be here tonight. So for those who are well versed in French, my name is Sebastien Roy, or that can be Sebastien Roy as well. So that both works. So I want to thank Irek at WeTech, because he's been my liaison with this event and connecting me and providing me the opportunity to to address you for a few minutes. I don't want to take too much of your time. I'm the last speaker. I know you have very, very important work to do, so I'm going to let you focus on this. But I also want to recognize the contributions of volunteers, sponsors, organizers. This is amazing. This is a great event, and I'm going to explain why I think it's it's such a fantastic organization that is happening here this weekend. And last but not least, I think I have to say, I want to recognize all the participants that are here, all the talented people that will be doing that all weekend and coming up with great ideas. I praise you for giving away your weekend. By the way, it's going to be almost 80 degrees outside. I hope they have a patio somewhere where you can go and hang out and innovate outside and take advantage of this. So. I'm with the consulate, so we have a role of promoting trade and partnerships in between Canada and the US. So therefore, this is the perfect event for me to be here and address you, seeing people from both sides of the border and getting together. I want to say a few words about the relationship in between Canada and the US. So it is the largest, the most dynamic, and the most successful trade relation in the world. We're talking about $760 billion a year, which averaged to about $1.4 million in bilateral goods and services that are crossing the border every minute of every day. This is huge, and there's nothing else like that in the world. As a result, there is 1 in 7 Canadian jobs that are linked to this partnership, and more than 8 million jobs in America that are supported by trade and investment in Canada. Canada and Michigan are also sharing an impressive trade relationship. 46% of all the Michigan foreign-bound goods are sold to Canada. So Canada is the biggest client of Michigan. The bilateral trade in between Canada and Michigan is valued at $74 billion annually, and 260,000 jobs in Michigan are supported by this relationship again. And it's important to mention that the Detroit Windsor is really central to all of this. We're talking about 45% of all Canada-US trade that goes to the Detroit Windsor region. So we are right in the center of this, and and sometimes we tend to forget about it, how important it is, and we think about other centers in the US and in Canada, but this is extremely important. Just interesting fact: 8,000 trucks a day cross the border just in Detroit Windsor. So these bilateral trade figures like that I share with you just clearly illustrate how Canada and the US have built a highly integrated economy over many decades. This is particularly true for Michigan and Ontario. While we enjoyed this extraordinary bilateral trade relationship, in order to continue to be successful, in order to improve our citizens' life, and in order to compete in the global innovation economy, it's fundamental that we use resources and talents wisely. So continuing to strengthen Canada-US numerous partnerships will improve our collective innovation performance, accelerate the commercialization of emerging technology, and will support growth on both sides of the border. We need to think of innovation as a broad North American challenge, not simply as a domestic one. Continuing and developing more cross-border collaboration will be mutually beneficial to the Canadian American innovators. And collaboration can take many forms, such as the exchange of innovation intelligence, the conduct of joint research projects, the sharing and the use of resources and infrastructure, and obviously creating opportunities such as the one that we're seeing this weekend. There are many others of those that I could mention, and a few weeks ago I was speaking at Tech Week, which was happening at Ford Field here, and I pointed out to many others, but I think by far it was my favorite example of a cross-border partnership. It's just absolutely amazing. So and I would like to mention just something quickly, which is not specifically related to this, but perhaps related to the healthcare and health industry. There's many people in the region that have been working for months right now at creating this cross-border health corridor, and it was pointed out to me a week after I arrived. I was completely lost in the environment. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know what they were talking about, but now I get it. And this region, the Detroit-Windsor region, I have amazing advantages as far as creating this cross-border collaboration in the health industry. And if you just think of one example that I remember for that conference, a week after I arrived, which is you're dealing with two different healthcare systems, two different population, even though we have a lot in common. And you can conduct medical research, within, a 15-minute drive. This is, you don't have that anywhere else in the world. And I think we have to take advantage and seize the opportunities that can be seized, in that regard. So, just wanted to mention it, and I think, when we're speaking about building on the success and the leverage of this event, is just a great opportunity to push to get that. And there's a lot of you that are in the health industry here, and I strongly, the Consulate strongly encourage, this for happening. So now I'm lost, completely went away from my. So anyway, I guess the last thing I should probably say is that it was mentioned that I was in Kabul, Afghanistan before, obviously doing slightly different work. But my colleagues there, when I said I was coming to Detroit as my next assignment, asked me if it was a punition or why was I choosing to go from one war zone to the other, and I had done my research and spoke to people, and I'm just the minute I landed here, I was just amazed with everything that's happening here. You can still see what it was a few years ago, but you notice the energy, the commitment of people, everything is happening, and from a technology and innovation perspective, all the people that are engaged into that, it's just absolutely amazing. And I felt it a lot at Tech Week a few weeks ago. I don't know if any of you were there at Ford Field a few weeks ago. Yeah. So I think it was a great event. There was second edition, and it's good. They're going to be here next year too, and I'm proud to say that I've been invited to be a board member, and I'm hoping that we're going to give a cross-border flavor to this event as well for next year, which will bring more people, more talent, and will make the event even more popular. This is absolutely fantastic. Windsor, and even past a little, like Windsor, there's a lot of good things happening, in Canada, and all the talents, resources, and resources that we have. We can work with you and make great things happen like this weekend. So I want to wish you great luck. The words of wisdom that were shared by the sorry, I forget your name. Yes, I think are great. Be open, share your ideas. I will chill outside tomorrow. I'm not going to be here, but I will be back Sunday to be here, to hear the great ideas that are coming out of this, and hopefully be able to congratulate the winners. So good luck, have a great weekend, and thanks for listening at me.